This is an unusual BMW. Why unusual? Front wheel drive, and it's got a 3-cylinder engine. And why am I holding this in my hand? Well, put it this way. If I was to put this over the front of the car and try and hide that big fancy grille also, would you know what this is? Anyway, blendability aside, we're going to find out what the 1 Series is like. So hit subscribe to the channel. Let's check it out in full detail. Around the side of the car, I still think it's a 1 Series, certainly around the back here, and the lines on it still look like a 1 Series at the back. The boot and the overall interior of the car has gotten bigger because of it being a front wheel drive engine. They've been able to twist the engine. And actually, to BMW's credit, this is an excellent boot. There's a little storage net, there's an elastic band for holding things in. Let's say, for example, you have a bottle of bleach and you don't want it to touch off your chicken breasts. You can slot the bottle of bleach in there on the way home from the shops after you've queued to get into them, and you can keep it all safe. And there's a little shelf here because there's no spare wheel because it's a BMW and the run flats, and you can hide things down there. It's a very practical shelf. There's tethering hooks, there's normal hooks, there's lights, there's 12-volt chargers. They have got the boot spot on. And obviously the seats go forward to give you even more space. You would be right thinking, looking at this car, looking at the wheels, looking at the colour, that there's a bit of a beast under the bonnet. Not quite the case, but the back's pretty good. Let's check it out. There is more interior space in the 1 Series, and it does show the driver's seat is reasonably far back here for my legs. I still have room. They've cut out in the back of the seats to do that. They have put the different style of USB options in the back, but at least they have them, and there's 2, and you can just get adapters and move on with your life. This version, there's no armrest. No armrest. There's a BMW in the back. Huh? What's going on there? Isofix seats, little doors that you hold open, means that when you're not using them, you can close them, and it looks neat. The seats are also nicely up off the floor, plenty of room to tuck your legs and your feet under. And just there is a bit of a hump, yes, but the space for your feet is really quite generous, and especially if you've got the front passenger seat shoved forward again, there's just a bit more room. Now it is black and it's dark. Get your own individual lights here. These light up nicely in purple at night time. The doors open reasonably wide, so if you are getting seats into the back, it doesn't make life too difficult for you in the 1 Series. They're not quite 90 angles, but they're all right. Where the 1 Series really comes into its own is the driver's live cockpit, because it's pretty much ripped straight out of the new 3 Series, and that is excellent. So let me show you around what it's like. This car doesn't even have 140 brake horsepower, but is it still fun to drive? For me, this is where the Golf is going to have its work cut out for it, and the A3, and it's going to leave things like the Focus behind, because the interior, all this area is from the 3 Series. The screen, which is touchscreen and still controllable by the jog wheel and everything here, it just looks premium. Everything used is good quality. The steering wheel, which is M Sport in this spec of car, is just lovely and chunky. Your display is all digital and orange and bright. You can't customize it the way you can in levels with the Volkswagen and Audi system, but it's still very, very good. It's clear. You get CarPlay. You can stream CarPlay with your Bluetooth without the need for cables. You have wireless charging. Even though they've got the weird USBs in the back and some more weirdness under here, they've got a normal style USB down here. So they really have everything covered. There's 12 volts. There's everything you're ever going to want. You've got the extenders for the legs, which I'm obsessed with. This car doesn't have gesture control, for example, but you can get that. You've got heated seats. You've got loads of buttons. They don't want you going through screens that are distracting when you're driving. Like, it is a serious upgrade. This feels more like a BMW on the inside than the previous 1 Series ever did. So it's leaps and bounds ahead in that aspect of the car. I've driven the manual version and I've driven the automatic version of this car. The automatic, I'll explain when we're going for a quick test drive. It's very, very fast. But there's reasons why I preferred the manual. So you can spec it and it's nice and it works very, very well with this engine. But if you want to save yourself a few quid, you're not going to have a bad car with a manual gearbox. This jog wheel is very, very easy to use. It brings you to everything you want. It will read out your news stories to you, your weather. You can get your nav and control that, and it's really, really easy. It just looks fancy, you know. It's got an email assistant for you, BMW's assistant. You can start asking the car to read out the instruction manual to you. So if you're not sure how to work the cruise control, for example, a nice person here will tell you.
This system enables you to set a desired speed, for example for a speed limit, which is then maintained automatically by the vehicle.
Voice control. Hello, BMW.
Super. I've saved my personal activation word.
I'm not quite sure what it's doing there, but it obviously thinks I want to do something else. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Find me the nearest toilet, please.
I found several destinations. Which one shall I select?
Just now selecting public restrooms. They're all displayed here, and I can pick one from the list.
I've selected public restroom toilets. Okay, I'm calling public restroom toilets.
Nope.
Sorry, currently there isn't any connection.
Please don't call the jacks. It's fine. I can figure it out myself. Set the aircon to 23 degrees, please.
All right. I set the temperature in the driver's area on 23 degrees Celsius.
So it's a voice system that actually works, and in cars, even with today's technology, that isn't always the case. So there's very little that I haven't been impressed with. It doesn't feel cheap, it doesn't feel plastic. The interior is absolutely excellent. The sweet spot that BMW have managed to achieve in this car is, even though it is the 3-cylinder engine, you really, really would struggle to hear it. Whether that's damping, sound insulation, or just good technology. Remember, this is the same 1.5 that's actually in the BMW i8, which is a bit of a down the pub type chat. Back, when you were allowed to go to pubs, that is. There is a good bit of tire noise from the tires this car is sitting on, and it is stiff. The setup is aimed towards a sportier drive, which means over cobbles, uneven road surfaces, you're kind of like this, and your passengers are kind of getting thrown around in the car. So bear in mind that fact when you're speccing huge alloy wheels in the car, because the bits of rubber are just going to get thinner and your car is going to get harsher. You can hear a bit of the engine noise there, but even still it's quite acceptable. The gear changes are really, really ferociously quick in the gearbox. Now, I've driven this car in manual and automatic, so I've seen both options. I did love the manual. Reminded me of BMWs of old. Maybe that was just because the actual touch of the leather gear knob kind of makes you feel like those older BMWs. There's plenty of low down torque that overtaking any cars isn't any sort of a stretch for this 3-cylinder engine. That's okay. You won't feel compromised. It's not diesel levels of torque, but it's absolutely adequate. A 135i, it ain't. It doesn't even have 140 brake horsepower, which is a bit weird when you look at the car on the outside, and to look at it, it feels like it's going to be something hot. It's not. But it is still an enjoyable car to drive. The steering is very, very nice. So yes, it's weird having front wheel spin pulling out of junctions in a BMW and wet ground and stuff, and that does happen a lot. But they've still, the turn-in on it is really, really tight. It does handle very well into corners, out of corners. It's low down. There's grip. It still has the essence of what a BMW should be, which is a fun car that handles well, turns well, still has those features. And I think a lot of 1 Series owners, they don't even know. Frontal collision avoidance is there. You've got cruise control, but it's not radar guided. You've got wing mirrors, but they don't have blind spot in them. They're little things where for the price you just would kind of expect them to have, but then again it's a BMW and everything costs extra. Taking it easy, we'll see, you know, nice figures, 6-8 litres per 100 kilometers, but as soon as you drive it on, it acts like a car with a lot more power. The way I'm driving, I've got just under half a tank left, and the range is displaying just over 200 kilometers. I know they're just kind of figures at any given time, they don't really stack up. It's quite hard actually. I've been searching around in the display of the car to give me a proper average fuel consumption figure, and I can't. All it's given me is a current figure, which obviously fluctuates if you're going easy, you're going harder. It doesn't tell me exactly what I'm doing, which is really, really weird. I have messed around with every combination of settings to try and find it out, and I can't get the car to give me an average fuel consumption figure. It's really, really weird. It'll tell you how many G's you're pulling in a 1.5 car, but it just won't tell you what your average fuel consumption over a certain amount of kilometers is. Strange. It's a very, very quiet car to drive slowly in traffic in. There's times when I've actually been sitting there and I'm like, is this thing on? It's really, really quiet at low speeds. I'd nearly go as far to say it almost sounds like an electric car. Like, you can barely hear the engine at low speeds. It's quite incredible actually what they've achieved with that. The gap between things like the new Golf, which is going to be here anytime soon, and the A3 has gotten that much narrower because of things like front wheel drive. There's no getting away from that. So when the Golf arrives and the interior is going to be good, you just know it's going to be all right. Might be at BMW level all right in terms of plastics and things to touch and this lovely chunky M Sport steering wheel. But I do wonder, is there going to be enough of a gap between this now and the BMW to justify the extra price? You're still going to want people that will want a BMW badge. That's always going to be the case. And there is more of a premium feel about it. But you're not going to be able to get a 1 Series for the price of a new Golf. But does this feel like more of a BMW should compared to the last car if you take away the rear wheel drive aspect? I think so, yes. I think this car, just the interior, how it feels, the premiumness of it is there more than the previous Model 1 Series. And surely, unless you're a real petrol head and rear wheel drive is such an issue for you that you can't sleep at night, then surely the overallness of that is better than the previous car. I think so anyway. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.